And this surfeit of gag generosity extended itself twice more to the Bruno Brooks Early Show. Somebody had built a statue of a cow in Wales out of cow dung. So we reckon, yes, Bruno will find a story in the paper. And then he could say, as a tagline, he could say, guess she'd take pretty well to a pat on the back. And
News today, farmer's daughter Sally Matthews, 29, is selling full-size cow sculptures made of dung for £2,000 in Cardiff. Now that deserves a pat on the back.
Yay! It did make me feel warm. And the final one, which perhaps my favourite, was about the birth, or was it the death in 1901 of the playwright Rostand. And we said, OK, Rostand died. So Bruno will say, yeah, he's the one who wrote the play about the bloke with a big nose, Pinocchio de Bergerac.
And playwright Rostand, who wrote the play about the bloke with a big nose, Pinocchio de Bergerac.
Excellent. And there was one more, which I so wanted him to say, and for some reason he didn't. I mean, basically, I was waking up in the middle of the night and I was putting on a stupid voice and phoning up the producer of Bruno's show and saying, hey, mate, I've just thought of a couple of gags. Imagine anything more sad. Then I was rubbing my hands with glee as I came out on the radio. There was one more that I desperately wanted him to say, and he ended up not doing it. I've no idea why. It was Peter Willey's birthday, the English batsman, and I said, Bruno could hark back to the time that Brian Johnson was doing a commentary on that versus the West Indies, and he said, the bowler's holding the batsman's willy, and his balls are flying around his head and there's white stuff all over his face. And for some reason he didn't say it. I thought Bruno would go, oh yeah, there must have been something to do with balls flying around his head, that's bounced. There's white stuff over his face, sun cream. Sad. What's this?
Call 1FM. Call 1FM. Peter Hamill. Has science gone too far? Marge Proops, how's it feeling?
When you say it, what do you mean?
I just meant, how are you?
How am I feeling?
Yes.
I'm feeling very good.
Excellent. Now,
I'm feeling great, actually.
Perhaps great enough to give us your opinion, if you would, on whether science has gone too far.
Well, it hasn't gone too far for me, personally, and for people that I'm involved with, and an area I'm involved in, and that is arthritis and orthopaedic surgery.
Is it everybody's arthritis?
Pardon?
In that group?
Pardon, sorry.
It's yours.
It's mine and everybody else's.
It's shared.
Shared, indeed, because I've got tin hips.
We're talking about science going too far. You mentioned tin hips. What about if it came to tin lips?
If there were continued developments in this particular field in which I am personally interested, then nothing can go too far.
So we're talking about a kind of scientific discovery which, if it made tin lips, could make them out of a floppy kind of tin, which would actually be as supple as the flesh of the original lip.
That's right. Or rubber.
Tin for the hardness and rubber for the softness. It would be nice to think that one day one could come across someone with tin lips who could whistle a Christmas carol in the same way that somebody with a perfectly ordinary mouth could.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think it could go too far that you could end up with a sort of robotic kind of creature made of metallic linkages which had a humanoid shape but was some kind of crazy boatman with a barge full of bombs?
I'm sure, and it's possible, but maybe it's the price we have to pay.
Smile at the replacement hips and frown and indeed take out the rogue boatman.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody wrote to you, Dear Marge, I rejoice in the tin hip, but I am plagued by the rogue boatman who yet approaches my abode with his barge of explosives, what would you say?
Well, I'd say ring 999, dear, quick.
You'd like the reply, Dear Marge, R.E. the tin thing, thanks for your help.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you for your help.
Okay.
Great to talk to you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Chris.
Keep busting.
Okay, I've got a letter. I reckon this one just about persuades me. It acknowledges that I don't normally deal with letters, but it says, Dear Chris, I accidentally heard your programme last month and wondered if you could do me a favour. I know you don't usually do requests, but I still think your will could be bent by my story. I'm 42 years old and consider myself intelligent, educated, but unlucky. Last winter, I was working as a council street sweeper. It was my age, I suppose, but I had become resigned to the daily drudge of heaping slimy newspapers, dead pizza boxes and other yuck into my large plastic barrow. Occasionally, when my route crossed the park, I could linger for a few moments in the lovely green spaces and watch the men from the Parks and Recreation Department blowing leaves around with their special underarm machines. One day, as I emerged into the street, my attention was caught by a cold shower of mud thrown from a puddle by the wheel of a bus. My mouth opened to curse, but no shouts passed my teeth. Instead, they were stopped by an invisible plug made out of the fact that the bus driver was a woman, and what's more, she had the most beautiful face. Not in a classical way, Chris. It was somehow more arresting than that. One moment perhaps prettily bovine, the next majestic like Angelica Houston. That night, I vowed to woo her. It wasn't going to be easy. I'm shy and useless at approaching people with words. I'm pretty useless all round, in fact. I only have one real tactic, and to be honest, it had never really worked before, even when I was younger. So why was I even thinking of using it now? Something in her noble face told me that it might just work this time. The next day, I was ready to act. First, I needed some leaves. An hour before I entered the park, I phoned the department and reported the leaf blowers for attacking a rose bush with their machine. It worked. By the time I got there, they had all been apprehended on a vegetable abuse, and I could have all the leaves I needed. Feverishly, I started laying them out in a huge ring on the ground by the bus stop. Using more leaves and some other detritus from my barrow, I created a large cross shape joined to the ring, thus forming the biological symbol for females. Seconds later, the bus appeared. People were already staring, so I felt confident their gaze would funnel her attention in my direction. It worked. She turned and looked. Immediately, I started jumping about on my barrow, pointing enthusiastically first at her, then at my giant woman sign. Then I held her eye and leapt into the ring. Here I threw my arms open into a gesture of welcome and stared straight into her eyes, jumping up and down on the spot and roaring the word yes over and over again. I'd always known this to be a risky tactic, but I felt it so much more keenly now that she was staring straight at me. It seemed to last forever. Then, ignoring the loud horns of the surrounding traffic, she suddenly opened the driver's door and stepped into the road. I advanced. We met. I love things like that, she whispered. Ah, I replied. Good. All the cars had stopped and switched off their engines. That was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, she rejoined. I couldn't believe my luck. Excellent, I both thought and said. Everything seemed to go silent. I shut my eyes and knelt to kiss her hand. Then, somewhere I thought I heard a sparrow fly into a brick. Suddenly, her fingers jerked from my lips. I looked up to see her catapulted into a weird backflip, her head transfixed by a spear of frozen liquid waste from an aeroplane toilet facility. She bounced off her own windscreen and lay quite dead on the road. To this day, Chris, I've been unable to erase the last awful sound she made as her body hit the ground. Imagine a man singing with a knot in his neck. But you could help me recall happier, carefree times by playing Jimmy Tarbuck's version of I Should Be So Lucky. Yours, hopefully, Roger Species. Roger, it's a pleasure.
I should be so lucky, 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 lucky. I should be so lucky in love. I should be so lucky, 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 lucky. I should be so lucky in love. In my imagination there is no complication. I dream about you all the time. In my mind a celebration, sweetest of sensation, thinking you could be mine.
And I'll interrupt this only to say that if you have a similar story which you feel could provoke me out of my resistance against requests, then do try and drop me a line at BBC Radio 1, London W104, WW, as the jocks say. W.
Hi, this is Wickfield. I think Naomi Campbell has a gravel fanny disorder.
Paul!
Chris,
You're outside a hotel.
I'm right outside now, mate.
Good. Why didn't they give us a drink?
Oh, some rubbish about it being too late and we weren't guests or something, wasn't it?
Okay, they've had it. We're going all the way today.
Let's get the bastards.
Okay, in you go.
I'm going in.
Sounds like he's looking forward to it so far.
Oh
Too
my
big.
God, it's very, very posh in here indeed. I'm going through the revolving doors.
Crowded, is it?
Very.
Okay, you're boasting about the signal as soon as you can.
Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah, brilliant signalling here, mate.
And then just laugh. Do a really long laugh that lasts about 7 seconds.
It's a superb signal.
And then say, mind you, they all look like arses in here.
Oh, I'll tell you what, they all look like arses though in here, I'll tell you.
Okay, and now lie down.
Oh, no.
Yeah, lie down. Lie down on the floor. It's a marble floor, yeah?
No, it's actually better than that. It's carpeted.
Okay, nice.
Oh, God, here we go.
Lie
This
down
is
on
going
the
to be
floor.
awful.
How many of them are there?
A couple of dozen. Oh, God.
Are they looking at you?
Yep.
And just go, oh, yes!
Oh, yes.
Anybody looking?
Yes. The
Okay, now start. If they're looking at you, start rolling around the floor. Like a commando. Rolling over and over to your right.
Somebody, yeah.
Anybody troubling you yet?
Somebody just stepped over me, isn't it? I can't do this. I've got to get out of it, mate.
Okay, say you're checking it for a friend with low feet.
Oh, no. There is no... I think somebody's clocked me.
Roll over to the desk. But as you go along, just go, ah.
Yeah, okay.
One long note. Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God. Let me go, please. Let me go.
No, stand up at the desk now and say, right, I'm just checking the floor for a friend of mine who's got low feet.
Oh, God.
It's a friend of mine with low feet.
Excuse me. Do you cater for people with low feet?
Low feet.
Low feet. The beds are what, sorry? The beds are quite low. No, they've just got low feet, no wheelchairs.
What can they do for someone with low feet?
Can you do anything special for somebody with low feet? Yeah. Sorry? No, not no feet, low feet.
Can they make sure they've got a cross between a bed and an orange?
Definitely a cross between a bed and an orange, though. That's what we need.
You can put in a Z bed.
A Z bed.
So it folds out into a bed.
A Z bed is okay, so long as you've got
Yeah.
a cross between a Z bed and a clock.
Yeah, the Z bed's fine, as long as the Z bed is crossed with a clock.
They spring mounted into
The closest they've got is a spring-mounted one, because you do get springs and clocks, don't you?
Sure, yeah. Have they got? So they've got a cross between a Z bed and a clock.
So you have got one that's basically a cross between a Z bed and a clock.
you've got it on the clock, but if it's with springs and it's not...
Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Just there.
A stair.
Yeah.
Well, say to him, my advice to you is strong deodorant and smoker's toothpaste.
No.
My advice to you is strong deodorant and smoker's toothpaste.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my advice is strong deodorant and smoker's toothpaste.
Is he still looking at you?
Yes.
Top it off with your forehead makes me sick, and then leave the room singing your forehead makes me sick.
Your forehead makes me sick.
Your forehead makes me sick.
Your forehead makes me sick. Forehead makes me sick. Your forehead makes me... Oh, my God. That was the worst one ever.
Leg it then.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Run.
Oh, my God.
How you feeling?
Bloody awful. Where the hell did you get all that stuff from?
I don't know, I was making it up because I thought they'd arrest you for rolling around the floor.
I didn't even say thanks or goodbye. It just abused his head and left. I nearly got run over. Oh, my God.
Easy now, take it easy. You're getting danger money for this anyway.
How much?
Oh, I don't know, about a £5.
Wonderful. I might even get to stay there for a night then.
Okay, Paul, see you later.
See you, mate.
Bye. And thanks to Peter Bainham. And thanks to Bruno for being our Gagmeister General. Remember, St. Sylvanus, the patron saint of Shiny Bottoms.
Also, St. Sylvanus Day today. Yep, patron saint of Shiny Bottoms.
And the playwright Rostand, who died, he was the guy that wrote a play about the guy with the big nose, Pinocchio de Bergerac.
And playwright Rostand, who wrote the play about the bloke with a big nose, Pinocchio de Bergerac.
And why he never said the bowler's holding the batsman's willy, his balls are flying around his head and there's white stuff all over his face, I will never know.